Yo, yo, yo. It's your boy Brock. Talk about some science. Science. Let's see what Kent Hovind has to say. Because he was rude to me, so he's rude to everybody. I think he's rude to everybody. I think he misrepresents science a lot because, well, based on what I'm saying. Maybe my pant leg together. Get the pants to cover up the whole leg so I can get not so cold. Yeah, let's see if I can hear Kent. It's not working. This stinks. Get out of here, OneDrive. Nobody likes you, OneDrive. Loser. OneDrive, more like loser. Roast. Probably ain't right. Oh, here it goes. It has nothing to do with Darwin's theory of evolution. Literally, that has nothing to do with Darwin's theory of evolution. Cosmic evolution, what do you want to call it? The Big Bang, don't call it cosmic evolution, actually. That name don't make sense. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. I'm not sharing the screen, am I? Dog, what?
Chemical evolution. See, the Big Bang supposedly made hydrogen. Well, how did we get 92 elements, plus the synthetic ones?
Okay, so Big Bang has nothing to do with evolution. And this chemistry, I don't know, don't care. Maybe God did it. I don't know. I don't really care right now. Maybe later we'll discuss that. Has nothing to do with evolution, so he's just being a liar. Oh, I hit the wrong button.
I mean, how did the chemicals evolve? They don't talk about that much, but that would have to happen. Thirdly, we'd have to have stellar and planetary evolution. Did you know the stars would have to evolve? There's an awful lot of stars out there, folks, but nobody's ever seen one form. There's enough stars.
Aaron Raw disproved that by just Googling stuff, so they can't say it's a conspiracy.
Stars out there that everybody on Earth can personally own 2 trillion of them.
Who cares?
We've never seen one star forming. We see them
Already debunked. Just Google it.
blow up from time to time. It's called a nova or a supernova. We've never seen one form. One professor told me one time, he said, well, we calculated in the laboratory that if 20 stars explode near each other, it'll produce enough energy to make a brand new star. I said, well, that's brilliant. You got to lose 20 to gain 1. You ought to run for Congress. You could help those guys borrow their way out of debt.
It's like what he says, well, you gotta get DNA. If you lose DNA, it's not evolution, whatever, dude.
First place, that's all theoretical. We've never seen it happen, okay? And I think it is scientifically impossible. See, then we'd have to have organic evolution. That would be the origin of life. How did life get started from non-living material? Now, according to the evolution theory, that would have to...
It has nothing to do with Darwin's theory of evolution. It has nothing to do with evolution, literally nothing.
happen somewhere along the line, long ago and far away. Life had to come from non-living material. And yet, we've never seen that happen. There is no evidence that it can happen. We'll talk about that in a minute. Fifthly, we would have macroevolution. That is where an animal changes into a different kind of animal.
The word kind, I think you get the point. It means nothing. So we got organic evolution, origin of life, it has under evolution. Calling it organic evolution is just a silly thing. It's like, it's not really its official name, but it's just abiogenesis. That's like the main origin of life idea. Then we got macroevolution. You define it really funny. So what species to another species is not kind. We don't use the word kind. It's very rare because why would we use an ill-defined term?
Nobody's ever seen a dog produce a non-dog.
According to evolutionists, a dog always gives birth to a dog because of the law of monophily. So really, they agree with you. I'm the type of guy who would probably argue that, well, this thing doesn't really look like a dog. I wouldn't call it a dog, so it's not a dog. But I'm alone on that, really. People seem to just say, well, the ancestor was a dog, so it's a dog, because ancestry trumps all, I guess. Whatever the word is. Let's continue.
But the evolutionist believes a dog came from a rock.
No, we don't. I mean, it's not like I fully accept everything about the theory, but I'm learning. But when he says the evolution believes, he usually means atheist, I think. Maybe not. Something like that. He's a meanie. He just says random stuff. He's a meanie.
If you go back far enough in time, 4.6 billion years. Finally, we have microevolution. Now, I don't like this word, okay, because it gets people confused. I think we ought to just call it a variation. But microevolution happens, folks. That is a fact of science. Animals produce a variety of offspring.
They do produce a variety of offspring, and that drives evolution. A million years later, do you think dogs are going to look exactly the same? I doubt that they would.
But it's always the same kind. The first 5 definitions of evolution are stupid.
Whoa.
It doesn't happen. It's certainly not part of science. It's something...
It's funny. Kent Hovind says that evolution, the tree of life is just lines on paper. Look, he just drew a line on paper with a point, but I don't care. It's still pretty much a line. Look, Kent, you're one to talk. Oh, I got a viewer. What up, viewer? My one viewer. Let me do something real quick. I want you to join so you can talk with me about literally anything. Well, science, probably. This will take a second. Why don't you join the stream, and you don't have to share your face if you don't want to, but maybe you can share your voice and we can just talk about science. I warn you, this Kent guy, he's a meanie. He's very mean. He's a big meanie. Let's see here. All right.
You have to believe in. They teach the kids it all started with a big bang 20 billion years ago. A big bang. I like to ask them some simple questions. What exploded? And where did it come from? And where did the energy come from? Et cetera, et cetera. According to the Big Bang Theory, it all started with a little tiny dot and exploded. And
I bet he's misrepresenting the Big Bang, but also it just has nothing to do with evolution, so.
Spread out over all the universe much faster than the speed of light. Well, the Big Bang Theory, as we'll see in a minute, is stupid. I don't know of a better way to say it. I'm trying to be nice to him, but it is just stupid. The Big Bang idea started with a Belgian astronomer named George something, can't pronounce.
Okay, let's try something new. I gotta hold on. This will take a moment. Ruh-roh, I just messed up. Okay, let's go back. Oh, that's the correct one.
Pronounce his last name. George said that this original matter was no more than a few light years in diameter. At the very least, that would be 2, or about 12 trillion miles. So they started off teaching a spot 12 trillion miles across was what exploded. Well, they revised that down. In 1965, they said, no, it was only 275 million miles across. Well, that's way down from 12 trillion. 1972, they said, no, it's only
still nothing to do with evolution. Kent Hovind's being a rude person.
71 million miles across. I don't know how they know this stuff, but this is what they taught, okay? 1974, they said it was only 54,000 miles across. 1983, they said it was the trillionth the diameter of a proton. Now they're saying it's nothing at all. Nothing exploded.
I'm telling you, this Kent Hovind guy is crazy.
This is what the textbooks teach. 18 to 20 billion years ago, all the matter in the universe was concentrated into one very dense, very hot region that may have been much smaller than a period on this page. That's stupid. This one says, all of the matter and energy someday will once again be packed into a small area, no bigger than the period at the end of this sentence.
It says viewer, me. Am I the viewer? I might be the viewer. I might be the one who's viewing this. That is hilarious. I fell for my own channel. I might be the only viewer that's watching. That's hilarious. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not an expert on computers, but I think there's a viewer there. Well, viewer, if you want to join real quick. Do you? Am I missing a button? Sometimes I dislike this computer. 0 viewers? Nah, they left.
Then another Big Bang will occur. It happens every 80 to 100 billion years. So you can forget about global warming. We're going to get squished. Now, this textbook author was brilliant. I could not believe how smart this guy was. He said, boys and girls, nothing really means nothing.
It has nothing to do with evolution, so it doesn't matter how dumb or smart it is. It has nothing to do with evolution, so.
This one says, all of the matter and energy someday will once again be packed into a small area. No bigger.
Did I skip ahead?
Bigger than the period at 80 girls. Nothing really means nothing.
Whoa.
You have to be at least that smart to write a book. He said not only matter and energy would disappear, but also space and time. However, physicists theorize that from this state of nothingness, the universe began in a gigantic explosion. What? Yes, boys and girls, you see, nothing exploded, and here we are. Now, who can argue with logic like that? Man, they even put this in major science journals like Scientific American. This fellow said, the observable universe, that would be us, could have evolved, there's that word again, you got to watch that one, okay, 6 meanings, from an infinitesimal region. In the Greek, that means a dot. It's then tempting to go one step further and speculate that the entire universe evolved from literally nothing. They call that science and put it in a science book. I would call that stupid and put it in the garbage. This is what the books teach. I collect them. I've got hundreds and hundreds of these books from countries all over the world, clear back from 1890s up until 2001 textbooks. They're teaching this kind of stuff, folks. This one says, all the matter in the universe.
I might just skip ahead because I don't think he's talking about Darwin's theory of evolution.
Often found trapped in amber, like the movie Jurassic Park, you know, where they drilled in and got the mosquito blood. These air bubbles, though, have 50% more oxygen than we do right now. But this textbook says the mixture at the bottom of the flask was rich in amino acids. Oh, come on. That is stupid. It was not rich in amino acids. Let's tell the kids what they really found, okay? He filtered out the product As this gas went through the tubes, he sparked it, produced this goo at the bottom, and he drew the goo off, because if it went through again, it would be destroyed by the spark. Now, in real life, you're not going to get a section of the ocean protected. They say this just happened by chance in the ocean. You can't filter out the product then. Secondly, what he made was 85% tar, 13% carboxylic acid, 2% amino acids. So 98% of his mixture was poisonous to life. I would not call that a success. And there are 20 different amino acids, sort of like 26 letters in the alphabet. There are 20 amino acids. Those amino acids go together to make proteins, like letters go together to make sentences. Mostly he made just 2 of these amino acids.
Wow. Except letters are made by humans, to my knowledge. And nobody made molecules, because you can't prove that they were made. Versus language, which is supposed to be written, some people write down, and must have invented. Unless there's a conspiracy theory that could prove me wrong. Ooh.
Amino acids. And they bond with the tar and the acid very quickly, more readily than with each other. It was a failure as an experiment. Amino acids are like letters of the alphabet, sort of like building blocks. You have to have a bunch of amino acids to make a protein. Then you have to have a bunch of proteins to make a cell. And you got to have a bunch of cells to make an organism. And one cell is more complex than a space shuttle. And all he got was a...
I don't know about that. Well, all the lost cells, well, the cells is better than a space shuttle. We'll see about that, Kent. We'll see. It could be true, but I bet he's
couple
lying.
of the amino acids. That's like me dropping toothpicks, and I happen to make a few letters of the alphabet. That's possible, isn't it? Toothpicks could fall in the shape of a T, or an H, or an I, or an E. That's possible. But if I'm able to drop toothpicks and produce a few letters of the alphabet, should I therefore conclude that nobody wrote Webster's dictionary? The difference between making a letter with toothpicks and making Webster's dictionary is about like making an amino.
People write books all the time, and God has still not been proven. He hasn't been shown making anything, bro. Work.
Acid and making a living cell. He didn't come
Do
close to
something,
making
bro.
life. He made the equivalent of a few letters, and he actually needed to make huge books. And half of his letters were backwards, left-handed. This creates a real problem, since the simplest proteins, the smallest proteins, have 70 to 100 amino acids, all of them left-handed. This really compounds his problem. RNA and DNA are all right-handed molecules, and they are unbelievably complex. And hundreds of these amino acids must combine to make a protein, and this has to be in a precise order. And they unbond in water much faster than they bond, and last time I checked, the oceans are completely full of water. So Brownian motion is going to drive them away from each other, not together. It just isn't going to work. He did not make life in the laboratory. But they tell the kids, he showed how life could have started by itself. Oh, that is just a stupid, okay? That's a lie. He did not show anything of the kind. And every experiment since then has made the problem worse. They're finding more and more things that just couldn't happen.
Are you sure about that? You've lied before, you can lie again.
Don't call that science. But they tell the kids, 3 billion years ago, life appeared on Earth. I was asked me to speak at this college in Boston one time. This preacher called all the colleges and universities around Boston and said, would you like to have Kent Hovind come speak at your college? Finally, one professor said, yes, he can come speak at our school if our professors can ask him any questions they want, because we want to show our students how dumb these creationists really are. So the preacher called me and said, Brother Hovind, would you like to speak at this college and let them make fun of you for a couple hours? I said, I would be honored. So I showed up. There were 6 professors and all their students. I felt like Daniel in the lion's den. I got my charts out and I said, now folks, I believe the Bible. Nobody cheered. I said, I believe about 6,000 years ago God made everything. The world's not millions of years old. 4.6 billion years ago, there was a big flood. I'm sorry, 4,400 years ago, there was a big flood, not 4.6. And 2,000 years ago, Jesus came, and I gave them the basic Bible story, okay? Then I told them what they believe. Because most of them don't know what they believe. You have to tell them. You guys believe 20 billion years ago there was a big bang where nothing exploded and produced everything. 4.6 billion years ago the earth cooled down, made a hard rocky crust. It rained on the rocks for millions of years. Said about this time of varieties of dogs in the world.
Whoa.
I said, yes, sir, you're right about that. He said, you mean to tell me that you believe all these dogs came from 2 dogs off of Noah's Ark?
Dogs, I'm gonna be honest, dogs are somewhat inbred, like more than other creatures. It's kind of feel bad for them. They kind of suffer from diseases. Oh well, I'm gonna get hate for saying that, but whatever. Dogs, they can be cute, but they're also kind of ugly. There's inbred. I feel bad for them. But anyways, one thing's for sure, this dog stuff is proof of evolution. It quite literally is. Think about it. Evolutionists said this would happen.
You expect me to believe that? Ha, ha, ha. I said, sir, would you look at what you're teaching your students? You're teaching your students that all the dogs in the world came from a rock. I had one lady, woman, come to me after a debate one time. She was steaming down the aisle. Boy, she was mad. Oh, I could tell I'm in trouble now. I stood there quivering in my boots, you know. She walked up and she said, tonight, you said, we believe we come from a rock. We do not believe that. I said, well, ma'am, calm down just for a minute. I said, do you believe in evolution? She said, yes, I do. I'm a professor here at the university. I said, well, would you please tell me then where we came from? She said, we came from a macromolecule. I said, where did that come from?
I think he wants you to talk about something besides evolution. This Kent guy's mad sus. I don't trust him. Think about it. Think about it. He's talking about stuff that's not part of evolution. And the story really just sounds fake. It really just does. It could be real, but it sounds fake. If it is real, I don't care. It's just her making a mistake. I don't really care.
She said, from the oceans, from the prebiotic soup. I said, where did that come from? She said, well, it rained on the rocks for millions of years. And you could see it was slowly dawning on her. I do believe I come from a rock, don't I? Yes, ma'am, you do. You ought to be proud of it. Hey, don't step on Grandpa, whatever you do. Look, that's stupid, okay? There's no kind way to say it. There's a great book dealing with some of the flaws in the Miller experiment. If you want more on that for your kids to study out there on the table, get the book Icons of Evolution. Then they tell the kids that these plants and animals, not only did life evolve from non-living material, then this life had to learn to reproduce itself.
I don't know if I'd say life evolved from non-living material, because Darwin's theory of evolution talks about you have to have ancestors. You already have to have life and has to reproduce with variation and have that variation be selected for or against by multiple processes. Come on, bro. You can do it.
Why would any organism want to reproduce more of its own kind when that's only going to increase competition for the food supply? Why didn't they instead evolve the ability to live forever and be happy? Huh? You ever think about that?
What?
I was in a debate one time, and we had question and answer time at the end. The student stood up and he said to the evolutionist, he said, sir, how did male and female evolve? The professor got up and he said, well, that is a giant mother may I step in the evolution story. A mother may I step? This is science. Wow. Well, so according to them, you know, for the next few billion years or hundreds of millions,
whatever he means by step there, man, mother, man, whatever that means, whatever he said, I don't know. Just Kent being Kent.
Of years, you know, life learned to produce something other than its own kind. Of course, today everything only produces its own kind, but they say long ago and far away.
Oh, long ago, far away, God was real. If you just imagine it, God's real. Whatever, dude.
They were able to do something different. Textbooks will say we started like a bacteria and slowly evolved to a human.
Oh, hovind.
I think that's stupid. But if you want to believe that, that's perfectly fine. Those trees of life that they put in the textbooks for your kids are a bunch of nonsense. And even evolutionists will admit that. Stephen Jay Gould, the Marxist professor at Harvard University, he says that evolutionary trees that adorn our textbooks are not the evidence of fossils. It's only inference. We infer, we imply, we hope it happened this way. This textbook says, all the many forms of life on Earth today are descended from a common ancestor. What? You mean the birds and the bananas have a common ancestor? Isn't that what he says? Found in a population of primitive unicellular organisms.
The more he sits there and just says random stuff, the more I really start to think this evolution stuff must be real. He has no argument, but the Bible says so. Basically, it says, or you think it came from a rock, even though it has any evolution and it's misrepresented anyway. So, like, abiogenesis does not say that we came from a rock and has nothing to do with evolution. So, Come on, bro.
Well, in the first place, there's no such thing as a primitive unicellular organism, okay? One single cell is more complex than a space shuttle. There's no such thing as a primitive single-celled organism. We talk about that on video number 4 of our series. But he says, all the forms of life are descended from a common ancestor found in a population of primitive unicellular organisms. What were those first cells like? How do we know? What events led up to their formation? No traces of those events remain. Did you catch that? Hey kid, we know what happened, but there's no proof. Primitive, huh? This one's...
They must have made a mistake. I don't know. Maybe you made it up. Maybe that's a creationist book that was made up to be a ticket. I don't know.
It says, the humans, mammals, birds, crocodiles, all had a common ancestor. Well, anything inside that circle is religious speculation. It is stupid. Reptiles produce reptiles, dogs produce dogs, people produce people, and there's never been an exception to that. Darwin said, though, if my theory be true, here's his book right here. You can look on page 211. He said, if my theory be true, numberless intermediate varieties must assuredly have existed.
I bet he found them.
Boy, you're right about that, Charlie. I mean, to change from a rock to a dog would take a few changes. David Ropp, who believes in evolution very strongly, says in the years after Darwin, his advocates hoped to find predictable progressions. In general, these have not been found, yet the optimism has died hard, and some pure fantasy has crept into textbooks. Oh, you're kidding. Fantasy in our textbooks? Oh, yep. They tell the kids.
I don't think they're... I don't think the guy meant that 100% literally. My words mean that a mistake slipped in. I don't know. I'm going to go get a snack. I'll be right back. Ooh, get this snack. Get this. And put on the fridge. I dropped a bit of food, but it's all good. All good.
Kids, they have evidence of evolution from fossils. I don't think so. That is stupid, okay? If you find a fossil in the dirt, all you know is it died.
We get to the real good part when I take a bite, so it's hard to respond. Okay. How do you know the fossil isn't of an adult? Like an adult animal or whatever? How do you know that the fossil, like if we knew it was an adult, which it could be, how do you know it never had kids? How do you know that? If the fossil is dated to be old, which I bet the dating methods are accurate, I'm not an expert on them, but I bet they are because you've lied before you can lie again. If they're accurate, who's to say you can't find a really old small horse and a slightly less old bigger horse, and the cycle repeats itself? We have really big horses today, and again, the process has truth to it because people breed animals to do stuff. You've observed animals do small changes, why not big changes over a long time? Then the macro micro evolutions, they're basically the same thing. They're basically the same thing, except a time difference. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
You don't know that it had any kids, do you? And you sure don't know that it had different kids. I mean, think about it. You're in a court of law. You bring in a bone to the judge. Judge, I found this bone in the dirt. This is the ancestor of all the humans today. They would laugh at you. You don't know that that's the ancestor of anybody, do you?
Maybe not. If you just find a bone, they find a whole skeleton. You date every part of the skeleton. You compare it to other skeletons in different strata. It starts to make sense, but you'll never mention that because you're a liar.
And why on earth would you think a bone in the dirt can do something animals today cannot do? Animals today can only produce the same kind, right? Dogs produce dogs, folks.
Whoa, what is a kind?
Luther Sunderland asked all the major evolutionists, he said, where is the evidence for evolution? They all said, well, somebody else has it. We don't have it over here.
That's a lie. I bet what really happened is Ken said, what is the... Well, let me see if I misheard that.
Right? Dogs produce dogs, folks. Luther Sunderland asked all the major evolutionists, he said, where is the evidence for evolution? They all said, well, somebody else has it.
Okay. He must have asked them, what is the best evidence? And they must have said some other type of thing out of their field. Like, people who study trees and flowers and all that, they study plants. They might think a fly is the best evidence of evolution because flies mature quickly and they reproduce like crazy. They have a lot of eggs, which hatch those nasty little worm things, whatever you call them, the maggots. Just think about that for a moment. Flies can evolve way faster than anything else can. But they don't change much because they're so good at their niche. We'd have to put on some artificial pressure, but sometimes they do evolve.
Has it. We don't have it over here. So he wrote a letter to Colin Patterson. He's the director of the British Museum of Natural History. They've got the largest fossil collection in the world. He said, Mr. Patterson, I read your book on evolution. I noticed you didn't show us the missing links. Why didn't you show us the missing links? Patterson wrote back and said, I fully agree with your comments on the lack of evolutionary transitions in my book. If I knew of any, fossil or living, I would certainly have included them. I will lay it on the line. There is not one such fossil.
I call fake news.
There are no missing links, folks. No chain is missing. Even Stephen Gould admitted the absence of fossil evidence for intermediary stages is a persistent...
One guy said something, therefore all of evolution is wrong, whatever.
A nagging problem for evolution. We got the theory, we know it's true, now we just need the evidence. That's the way they think about it. Richard Goldschmidt said, maybe the first bird hatched from a reptile egg.
Whatever. Okay, maybe we're eating. But you get the point. This guy's weird. I don't think I've ever seen an evolutionist that says a crocodile-looking animal gave birth to a bird-looking animal. Nobody would say that. But Kent Hovind has to lie. He has to lie. Ugh. Hard to swallow the food sometimes. Sometimes. Evolution is almost always a spectrum. The tiniest little changes over every generation. At least we've seen small-scale evolution. Have we ever seen a god? Are you going to prove it without using the Bible? Also, I probably pissed off a lot of Christian evolutionists, but I mean, is there really any evidence of God? And this guy's using it as evidence against evolution, so I guess I'll counter his arguments about God.
Oh, Richard, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but that's stupid. See, what's happened, these guys have looked for missing links in the fossil record. They can't find any, and so they say, well, maybe evolution happened so fast it wasn't preserved. Maybe a reptile laid an egg and a bird hatched out. Well, who did that bird marry?
I already explained we were doing a straw man.
There's only about a zillion differences between a reptile and a bird. We'll get into that later sometime if we get time. But if they want to believe that, that's perfectly fine. Here's what happened. Charlie Darwin graduated from Bible college to be a preacher in the Anglican Church in 1830. He couldn't get a job, so his dad pulled a few strings and got him a job on board HMS Beagle. He's going to sail around the world and collect bugs. And while he's sailing around, he stopped off at these islands right there.
So hungry, I ate it again. Some of So I'm gonna eat a carrot now.
Called the Galapagos Islands. There on those islands, Charlie noticed there were 14 different varieties of finches. Charlie studied the birds very carefully and said, you know what? I think all these birds had a common ancestor.
Oh, that's one one.
I bet you're right, Charlie. It was a bird.
Whoa! Mind blown. The most recent common ancestor of all finches was a finch. No one's denying that. Now, if you keep going past that point, eventually you get to a point where there's no finch, so then it looks kind of like a finch. You get to the point where it's not a finch bird, it's, I don't know, just a bird. And then you get to the point where it's just a dinosaur reptile. And then it's just a reptile. They just keep doing stuff. Yo, the legend himself. Please join. I bet some of the things I can't answer you could answer. Because he would mention stuff that has anything to do with, oh, you evolutionists like a bird got buff to a dog or something dumb like that. Please join, bro. You could, I bet you could demolish this all on your own, but I want to do some of it though because it's kind of fun. If you don't mind, I'd like you to join. I have carrots. I'm funny. I'm a couple of days late, I guess, but I'm here. I'm live streaming. Okay, I'm gonna put these up. I wanted to eat. I'll get the calories from the orange juice. It's good enough. I love orange juice. You other also not think that a dog came from a pine tree. Goofy owl looking self. That's what he is. Can't open. This will be a second. I gotta see if he can. Oh, there he is. Hello.
Oh, I'm still muted. There we go. Hey, buddy.
You look familiar.
I would hope I do.
I
All
don't
right.
know why, but you seem familiar.
All right. So where are we at in the craziness of 06/45/2017?
I forgot that he had a code name when he was a prisoner. Okay, so basically, he was complaining about a bunch of relevant stuff, and I talked too fast. I'm really honest. I bet most of the video I talked too fast. But hear me out. He talked about a bunch of irrelevant stuff, and now he's talking about the process of evolution, and he's covered a bit for the last 10 minutes. So I don't know what the rest of this is going to be. It's
like
an
he's
hour.
Talking about
ahead.
Darwin's finches right now.
Yeah, but I don't know what happens
yeah.
after that. I haven't really watched the whole thing.
Let's keep going. Yeah, I haven't actually watched this seminar. Not that it's not any different from everything else he says, but let's get to it.
Can you hear it? Wait, can you hear it?
Yeah. The audio's fine.
Okay.
And then Charlie said in his book on page 170, he said, it is a truly wonderful fact that all animals and all plants throughout all time and space should be related to each other. Hold on a minute. You see 14 kinds of birds, and you conclude that birds and bananas are related.
Pause.
What's your thoughts? Oh, yeah. Sorry, what?
No. I was. That's the usual custom. Since you have control of the video, we'll just tell our commander of the stream to pause. Yeah, so that's exactly where I was
Commander.
going.
Yes, Commander.
Yeah, you picked the right time. Yeah, the finches got him thinking about all of this because he started extrapolating. Well, hang on, if these beaks are specialized, and he started thinking about other creatures, and it began to grow on him the idea that, okay, hang on, everything shows these same kinds of traits, these same kind of shifts, these same kinds of changes, adaptations, and began to think, about the general flow of things, and that's where he came up with the ideas he wrote about in the book. It wasn't just, I see 14 finches and suddenly everything's related. No. He correctly extrapolated from that. In much the same way the story goes of Isaac Newton and the apple falling. That's not entirely true, but he, started really thinking about why things fall, and eventually, developed calculus to help explain gravity.
So basically, I think he's gonna say, well, the reason the tortoise on the Galapagos has a long neck and a raised shelf and a long neck is because God made it that way so it can reach the tops of the trees. I'm like, well, then why did God make the tree so tall?
Yeah.
He actually one time said in a debate to Dave Farina, well, Dave Farina, predators, according to you, have been chasing foxes. Foxes have chased rabbits for millions of years. Why haven't rabbits evolved wings? I'm like, what? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a mess.
That's his entire MO, is just absurdity after absurdity, and it's an idea of making actual science sound ridiculous. Because when you describe it like that, it does, but that's because you're making it sound ridiculous. He's intentionally being deceptive.
You ever heard the saying, anything sounds bad when you say it?
Yeah, that's definitely Kent right there.
Let me get rid of that comment. There we go. I want this to see our name. So basically, Kent is a goof, right?
Very much so, and not the pleasant kind of goof.
No, he's not a goofy goober. He's a he's a goofy gobbler. He gobbles up all my happiness. I don't know. I've tried.
You'll get there. That was funny.
That's stupid.
Shut up, kid. The joke was great.
The birds had a common ancestor, but that's as far as it ever goes, folks. Okay, I don't know of a kind way to say it, Charlie, but that's stupid.
Can I show you something I made? An advertisement for a video I want to make.
I mean, sure.
Or should we just stick to this real quick?
I mean, you can do whatever. It's your stream.
Okay. I'm gonna be real quick about this. I hope it works. Are you making too much sense when you talk? Are you tired of science proving boring stuff to be true? Do you wish to make believe with crap? Might I recommend Kent Hovind's seminars? Well, you could just believe a bunch of baloney, and I can try to justify it and get away with it. I just had to do that. I really just had to do that.
Really straight and to the point. Nice.
Oh, it got rid of it. No, it got rid of it. Crappy. It got no. How do I mean, I can see it, but you can't. I got to show it to you.
Go back down and click share again in StreamYard. The present is what you want to click.
Oh, well, I feel dumb. I feel dumb.
You just got to get used to it. You're new to it. Yeah, there you go. He's back, regrettably.
I need to make that. I'm gonna be honest because I love honesty. I talk funny or too fast or both, so I'm gonna try to remake that. I might try to remake that sometime.
Yeah, you'll get the hang of how to do everything. It takes practice.
Are you tired of making sense when you talk? Are you tired of science proving boring things to be true? Do you wish you could make believe whatever you want? Well, boy, do I have the thing for you. Okay, back on track.
Yeah.
You should conclude that those 14 kinds of birds had a common ancestor, but that's as far as it ever goes, folks, okay? I don't know of a kind way to say it, Charlie, but that's stupid. Okay, we don't ever see a bird produce a non-bird. See, dogs produce dogs, and you might get quite a variety of dogs. Roses produce roses. That is called microevolution.
He mentioned that earlier. He wants to just call it variation. I'm like, no, it's macroevolution and microevolution. Those things we're going to use both terms. You know what I mean?
The common analogy is it's like saying you can walk an inch, you can walk a foot, but you can't walk a mile. It's like, it's just over, a longer distance, a longer time. It's really not that complicated.
I so badly wanted to finish that for you, but I let you. I was like, I know what he's going to say. I know it because I'm so smart. So smart. Sometimes I act all feminine as a joke. I don't know, or just acting a nerd or something. I'm a goof. Next time you debunk him, I'm like, you get him, sis, as a joke. Something funny. Anyways, what do you think he's gonna say next? What do you think he's gonna say next?
I don't know. He'll probably bring up cows in a moment. I got a feeling he'll bring up cows.
Now, that is a fact, folks. It happens. It is observable. It is scientific. I don't think we ought to use that word, microevolution. We should just call it a variation. But they use it, so, just so I qualify that, it's a lousy term. It gives what's called a free rider effect to the rest of the 5 religious ideas of evolution.
You're
you
a
might
lousy
get a big
term,
dog or a
Kent.
little dog, but you're always going to get a dog when you crossbreed your dogs. And I would go so far as to say probably the dog, the wolf, and the coyote had a common ancestor. This Irish textbook shows different dogs, and it calls it divergent evolution. Oh, come on. Giving it a fancy name doesn't change a thing. It is still a dog.
I wonder if Kent realizes that one day these dogs won't be able to interbreed with each other, like 1,000 years from now. Does he notice that?
In many cases, they already can't due to physical limitations. Chihuahua and a Great Dane, which is an example he uses, obviously can't interbreed due to physical limitations. But what's funny is that
too, sometimes,
if
maybe
you were to find, if it's 10,000 years in the future, and you were to find fossil remains of all these various dog breeds, and you didn't know any better, you might well class them as different species. Because quite honestly, even though they're genetically compatible, you could classify some dogs as a new species if you felt like it. If it was a taxonomic classification that made sense as a route to go down. Now, we usually are more conservative than that on declaring things a new species, but technically speaking, one could say a Chihuahua and a Great Dane are a different species. They are subspecies of Canis familiaris. No one's going to, but you could, and you wouldn't be completely wrong on it. It would just be a less practical application.
I want to see Aaron Rawls. I called him Aaron Raw in my head. I was like, whoops. But Aaron Raw, I want to see his reaction to this someday, especially to my stream with you in it. That'd be awesome. See what he thinks of us.
That would be very cool. What you'll want to watch of Aaron Raw, if you haven't already, is him covering Kent's Lies in the Textbook series. Have you seen that?
Supposed lies. Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's really a critical one, because he always uses variations of the same speech.
Yeah, it's the thing about Kent is like, Kent, so you got no new information. I'm like, Kent, everyone uses your slides from 30 years ago, so Aaron might as well debunk them, right?
Yeah. Like that dog one he shows that one to this day. You can see it in his slides. I think a couple of days ago, as he was zooming through his slides, you could see the dog one.
Oh, Ambush Apostate. You want to join? You want to join, please? I'm bored.
Yeah, I you may not be at Discord at the moment. I had tossed the link in there just as hey, I'm on with my boy Brock.
Yeah. Yeah, do the thing. Yeah.
Bear with me. I'm a little tired after the monster stream earlier and the like.
Yeah, come on, join the link. If you don't want to, it's fine. But Ambush Apostate, if you join, that'd be awesome. My fingers are not crossed behind my head. I totally give you $1 million if you join.
He just recorded a video and was working on post for it. So yeah, he says he's gonna jump in.
I gotta take a tinkle, so I'll be right back. I love saying that. One time I said that, but I had to really go pee. So I was like, that was not a tinkle.
Oh, my boy Brock being the goofy self he is. Love it.
I'm way cooler than Kent. Also, I want to need someone named Kent who's like an evolutionist. That'd be awesome. Just because.
Seriously, let's talk to the good Kent, not the bad Kent. Go take care of business, though, bro.
Okay. Gotta go release the.
I'll keep the audience entertained. But yes, Kent's entire perspective, as we all know, is ridiculous. And not just that his views are worthy of ridicule, but that's where the way he reduces everything he disagrees with to a level of just straight ridicule. He has no respect for other opinions, no respect for other viewpoints. He refuses to consider stuff rationally, because why do that when you can just lie to people for money? That's his entire MO. And for those coming on the stream now or later who may not be aware of me and what I do, for the past few months, I've been doing anti-Kent content as well as other things, because the man's insane. That's simple. And Brock is getting back.
Okay, I just realized something. When I said I gotta release the monster, I realized how dirty-minded this sounded.
I didn't even catch it. Oh Lord.
The joke was if I don't pee, the pee is gonna acidify my insides. It's he's the monster, but I realized how different that sounded.
Oh
So
man.
we are so gonna have to age restrict this, I think.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
kids. This is science is for adults only.
It's a wild, wild world we live in. Oh,
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, Ambush will be here in just a bit. Let's keep going with Kent.
I'm afraid I'm gonna forget to check for when he joins. Wait,
I'll let
it's
you
okay.
know.
Okay, thank you.
I'm good at
Well, you can-
multitasking with this stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And a 3-year-old.
I'm gonna be honest before we continue. I hate when people in the background laugh as if they hadn't have something. Like, remember when Kent asked somebody? I think it was somebody recently on a stream. Do you believe that pine trees and elephants are related? And if you say yes, there's people in the background. Don't you hate that?
Yeah.
Like why are y'all laughing? Y'all believe in all sorts of stuff.
He always has to do things in front of that captive audience. Every time you see him stream, remember he's got his entire cult watching him.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like you ever play tic-tac-toe on those boards with the shapes that light up and the big electric board?
Yeah.
I played. There's one with many mini games, on tic-tac-toe included with many games. And if you lost, you could hear a crowd go, "Aw!" I made a joke to my sister. I want to beat up the crowd because they would.
Yeah. It gets annoying. You don't want to hear that. You just don't want to hear it sometimes.
Oh yeah, the crowd. I feel bad for. If we should be laughing at Kent.
Yeah.
And I just realized I'm talking really fast and no one can hear me. But anyways,
you're okay, buddy.
Let's go. Let's release the monsters. Can't get it. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop being rude.
I can tell you. Anybody in here 5 years old? Who's 5 years old?
Kent.
5 years old. What's your name? Misty?
Is he going to rely on a 5-year-old to get scientific information? Because on average, they don't know what they're talking about.
That's how he provides. That's how he judges whether something is factual or not. Is if a 5-year-old can make a distinction.
And do you want to know why religious people teach their religion to 5-year-olds, even younger?
Because they're super impressionable. They believe everything adults tell them.
But if you teach them don't just go, well, evolution, we came from monkeys. Just if you tell them why you think that, you could open their mind up to a way of thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the more time I spend with you or just watch Kent be silly, the more I realize, this evolution stuff looks more and more likely. It really does. I know the process is true.
Yeah.
But for a while now, I was like, I don't know if I came from an ape. But the evidence was mounting, and with him being weird, I was like, you know what? It's like he's trying to cover up something.
Yeah, it takes a while to really wrap your head around, especially when you're coming in at it kind of fresh. But it isn't super hard. The trick is not overthinking it, because sometimes when you get into the nitty gritty, you'll just keep on diving, and next thing you know, you're trying to study organic chemistry, and you really don't want to be trying to deal with that. It's insane. But when you take a step back in the broad sense, it can and will start making a lot of sense. And when I don't want to say just accept things, but when you think about things with certain facets being presumed true, if you're tentative on it, it's like, well, let me think about our features. Okay, if this is what defines an ape, let me look at human features and, we fit all the taxonomic criteria. So if this is what an ape is, then we fit that. And that same kind of thinking can go to so many other things.
I was thinking if this world is a simulation, it could have been made like 40 years ago, and it could have just been turned on. But if it's not a simulation and the rest of the real world, think about it. What are the chances that evolution is fake? Well, not the process, but the history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that point you get into a really odd philosophical thing, which I rather hate, but does come up, called solipsism. What it boils down to in simple terms is, how do you know you're not a brain in a vat? We really don't for sure, but we have to live our lives presuming that the world around us is real. And some people will legitimately bring that up as an argument, and it's like, what are you talking about? They're just crazy.
I'm willing to say maybe I am a brain of that, but if Kent wants to bring that up, he is to not be scientific, right? Because science has some presuppositions, right?
Well, I mean, if you think about it,
right?
At that point, nothing else around you actually exists. Kent doesn't exist. The world doesn't exist. Everything is just thoughts in your head, which in a way is what it is anyway. But we, of course, live understanding that from all perspective, everything that we experience, the world, the universe is real. And that's one of the most key things is, I hate to use ist terms on things, but being a realist, accepting reality for what it is.
Yeah, he's here. It says we have 2 audience members, and he's here, so we still have 2. So I guess somebody joined right when he
Seth,
left.
what's up?
What's
Or I'm
up?
missing
What's
something.
up?
Ambushed Apostate, your name is Seth. Is that right?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. I got some feedback. Let me figure this out.
Technical issues.
Please stand by as we experience technical difficulties. These will not affect the quality of your life in any way, because right now we are saving you from
Gotta go
hearing
in.
more Hovind.
All right. I think we're good now.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, I was gonna make a meme. Dang it! I was gonna make a
Do it
meme.
anyway.
Hey, Kent's
Okay.
about to do that for us. He's good at that.
Okay, I'll do this for a couple seconds, then we're gonna go back to the video, and we'll go right back on topic. Up in the
Hey neighbor, you switched to T-Mobile home internet yet? Trim your head.
That's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one. They were bullying Kid on. I'll show you the song. Kid on Swing meme. I want the music to play.
That's a classic.
Very good one.
One more time. Okay.
Good stuff.
Okay, back. Wait, it just disappeared. I don't. Okay, I'll do it manually because the screen wants to act up. Yeah, but yeah, apostate. We're just. I keep trying to call you apostate prophet, but that's the wrong guy.
Yeah, not me. Not apostate prophet.
He's a.
Good
I'm not an
content, though.
expert on Islam, but I'm pretty darn sure Islam is kind of suspicious. Just think about it for a second.
It's extremely suspicious. Correct. Just stay away from it. I think you'll be fine.
Oh, there was a joke I made with somebody. Not gonna say who, but I go up to that person and go, "Do you believe in Allah?" So tell me, do you believe in Allah?
Do I personally believe in the law?
You get chopped off. Get it? Offensive, I know.
Oh man.
That's offensive. I'm gonna get banned for that. Anyways,
There's a certain tone. You'll get the hang of tone and delivery of jokes because they can work. It's all about tone and delivery. You'll get the hang of it. You're just nervous like we all are when we start with this stuff. And you're a hyper bundle of energy, but we like that about you.
I think I was told that someone said, well, when you were 4, you were diagnosed with autism. So that might be the thing, maybe. The scientists could have made a mistake, the doctor, whoever, but
the best curse you can have.
Jake Lou Zoo, whatever. Do you want to join, dude? Or do that? Whoever. You want to join? Or are you busy?
So what are we specifically watching here?
It's either from 2002 or probably from the 80s. I mean, this is a very bad, blurry camera.
No, this is definitely a 2003 seminar. Was the 100 Reasons Evolution's So Stupid? 2002, 2003.
Yeah, I had moved on at this point. I was going to say, look for me as a child in the audience, but not at this point.
What about the child? Sorry, I dozed off. I was trying to look at the comments. What are you trying to do?
Yeah. Fire away with more Kent. That's the key thing. Let's keep Kent rolling.
Okay. People are clicking off, I bet, so I'll keep going.
Here we have a dog, a wolf, a coyote, and a banana. Which one is not like the others?
Aren't they eukaryotes? Like they have the nucleus, and the thing about so basically they have don't they have genetic similarities? Like we're more to like a plant than we are like a bacteria, right? Why is that?
Not quite.
The gene. I smoke.
The bacterial branch. Well, we are more. I think we are slightly more closely related to plants generally than bacteria proper. That depends on, and this gets way past my immediate knowledge of evolutionary subjects and cladistics. Depending on archaeobacteria and whatever the other type is. Like I'm burning all the gears here trying to remember these facets. And that shows you were paying attention to the video that I was covering earlier. What we have here, though, it isn't even so much closeness in relation to the quote unquote banana. One thing to consider, and this is something you'll constantly notice with Kent, and you should definitely make note of, Brock, as you cover his stuff, is that Kent will always bring up usually the fruiting bodies of various plants, again, as an argument for absurdity, because a banana is just a reproductive member that doesn't even really work in bananas. Like we breed them, we pretty much breed them to be seedless. There's a particular lineage that we get our bananas from, of specially bred banana trees. So the banana doesn't even a matter of being a eukaryote or not. It's just like a strawberry. It's just like an apple. That's what it is. It's just the reproductive body. Whereas we got 3 complex organisms here. So if you go to the banana tree, then much like the iron raw discussion earlier, you get the exact same thing. Where if you branch back, one of the earliest commonalities you get will be the fact that the cells are eukaryotic. And then at a point not too far from that, you had deviation where some stuff went off and started to become animals, and you get all the branches of Animalia, and other stuff went off and usually photosynthetic decided to become plants. The interesting phenomenon is that you tend not to find, and I say tend not, you basically don't find photosynthetic animals. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, there's like 3 that do, but they have to eat plants and then they lose the ability to have to eat plants again.
Yeah, it's like they will like take in that trait, like Kirby takes in something when he sucks something in. It's like, oh, I've adapted that. It's a very specialized thing, but you think that would be a great thing, just have every animal just get energy from the sun if it needs energy like that. Works for plants.
Yeah, if God is real, and this isn't debunk God, but it shows that there's not really much proof of God, because why would God make an animal that's so inefficient that sometimes it needs to do photosynthesis by eating the plant? Why not just make it work and just do photosynthesis constantly, right?
Yeah, it's little stuff like that just makes you wonder for sure. Seth, what do you have to add?
Well, that goes for a lot of things. We have vestigial organs. There are many, many things that if things were perfectly designed with just any kind of intelligence, in some cases, it's like, as Kent likes to talk about, a 15-foot barnacle penis. That is not the most optimal version of how that system could work. So, yeah, it's a nightmare when it comes to an intelligent design. And this is the product of what you're so proud of in these religious groups. It's like, ooh, yikes. Okay.
I've seen kindergartners design better stuff. If Kent wants to obsess over 5-year-old skills, something to consider. And Brock, you and I both wear glasses, so this would be something we really, we're really
technically
aware of.
Hey, to be honest, I'm supposed to and don't. So
so there we go.
Officially,
Seth too
I have prescription glasses.
He also has semi-defective eyes. But even if our eyes were in what's considered tip-top shape, your good old 20/20 and no other issues, we still have all those veins running through the back. We got that big-ass blind spot where all the nerves attach. And we still only see a relatively small spectrum of what could be seen in a roughly visible light / infrared / UV range.
There are so many more living creatures that have so much better eyesight than we do. It's ridiculous.
The squid, of course, being a primary one, because their eyes evolved completely differently.
The thing, I bet the reason why our eyesight's not that good, I bet the most likely explanation is that we just didn't need it to be that good. It was good enough.
It really is. That is exactly it.
Have you seen that?
Really, truly is. Yeah.
Have you seen that funny video by the It's Okay to Be Smart? They rename themselves to Be Smart for some reason. I don't know. I prefer the longer name, but it don't matter. The point is, they're like, it's not survival with the fittest. It's survival with the good enough, because they're just the good enough. Does that kind of make sense?
It is.
But that point is exactly, that is exactly what it is. Everything just has to be good enough to survive. It fits into its particular environment, its particular set of conditions.
Right.
We see that happen on an individual level. So imagine that overpopulation.
And if we backed out and had the ability to fast forward through 50,000 years, just to real quickly, we would see this happening all these minor adaptations over time. We don't need eyesight that can see movement in the field, from a quarter mile away, like some birds, because we don't have to. Like, I don't have to go hunt for my food. So over time, we don't, certain things aren't as developed any further. And, it's just how it works.
I mean, think about how we did hunt during the hunter and gatherer days. We
It was
had
hard.
developed tools because other primates already came up with the idea of tools. That's an ape trait right there.
Right.
And
which,
what
by
we
the
would
way,
do-
has been filmed in the wild just recently.
Absolutely.
Like, not just like, a rock against another rock, like actual tools being crafted.
Yeah, it's
So-
crazy how smart
Yeah,
they are because
yeah.
it's such a base instinct in our kind, the ape kind.
Dude, let me tell you just a real quick story. During
All of
my
them. All of them.
during my deconstruction, me and my family went to the zoo, and I looked a gorilla in the face, through the glass.
Yeah,
And it was a tipping. Well, there wasn't a specific thing, but it was one of the 1,000 cuts that it took to kill that belief system, because the connection I could see in this animal's eyes, and in my mind, before we were not related, right?
yeah.
It was just such a wild experience to see something that close to us in person, with the understanding of how that works.
Yeah.
Really incredible thing.
It is absolutely incredible. I've had those moments myself too.
And you're
It's
robbed of
wild.
those when you're taught this nonsense from
Mhm.
people like Kent. It really, really robs you of knowledge and those experiences, and that's why I've kind of put my foot down with him and trying to do what all of us are really doing.
Mhm.
But it's damaging.
It really is.
I remember a saying, well, not a saying. I thought of something when R and Ross said we smell like apes. Why in the flippin' flopper? Why in the flying world? Whatever this cool saying is. Why do we smell similar to a gorilla than we do to a giraffe or a wolf or an elephant? Why is
Yeah.
that?
It's weird stuff, but when you think about it, it's like maybe because we are related to that. Maybe we're of that same family. Begins to make a lot of sense when you do think about it. Why would we smell like apes? Because we're apes. And in fact, that's why if you're at the zoo, usually the ape enclosure is probably the worst smelling one to a lot of people, because it's so closely related to us. It smells like humans who are disgusting, and we're like, not today. That's where we're going to get
Right.
every disease. Whereas hanging around, the big cats or something, still not pleasant, but it's a different kind of unpleasant.
Yeah. Kent, sometimes earlier in this, I promise you, I pinky promise you, I'm not lying. Earlier, he's like, well, some scientists said maybe a duck was pooped out, hatched from an egg, pooped out by an alligator or something like that. He's like, well, what did the duck breed with? I'm like, oh my gosh, Kent. Can you not believe he said that? Because I really can.
He's going full crocoduck. You never go full crocoduck.
Well, how does that one kid, who's not a kid anymore, he's old now, but back in early 2000s, he was like 20, 30 years old. What was his name? He was friends with Ray Comfort. He debated the man and woman, the two atheists.
Oh, are you talking about Kirk Cameron?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Tell me, how does his voice sound? Okay,
God,
well,
he's a
I forget that stage.
miserable human being.
If I wanted to do a miserable human being, I'd just imitate Hovind.
Yeah.
I'm Kurt Cameron, and I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But let's get more Hovind. Let's progress. Yeah.
Before we do, all the I had to do that. All right.
Dog, wolf, coyote, and banana. Banana. All right, let's give Misty a hand. Very good. The other ones.
That little girl. Pause it for a sec. Let's just think about it. If this was 2003, that little girl is now 27.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what her life is like now. Hopefully, better.
Hopefully she got out, because I'm telling you, I was in the 1990s classes, the later 90s, and I'll be 36 this month, and so to hear that from a 5-year-old and then to ask that question, I just hope she found her way out of this, because it is like, you don't learn anything. If this is your foundation educationally from that young, which it was for me,
Yeah.
you don't learn anything.
You don't really have a foundation.
And it is wild.
All right, keep rolling, Brock.
Before I continue, do you remember that AJ Atheist Jr. video where he started that trend? Or maybe he didn't start in the video, but he's like, the foot bone's connected to the leg bone, the hovind's connected to the hovind.
Hovind bone. Yeah.
Hovind.
An AJ banger.
Oh, we're going to watch more hovind. Hovind.
Some of these college professors can't tell. Look, there's a variety of dogs, folks, and they probably had a common ancestor. It was a dog, okay?
The most recent common ancestor of all dogs was a dog, according to the monophyly law, right?
At some point, as a deviation from wolves, you would have what we would call the basal dog, certainly.
Yes, that's what.
That being the wolves and all that being branches of caniform, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Seth, I think you've been at least somewhat involved enough in this to be able to remind me. Doesn't caniform include cats and other similar shaped creatures?
I am not exactly sure. I am going through between like Forest's content and some of Aaron's older playlists that deal with this specifically. I don't want to speak ignorantly of it, but there is a step that's just a more. I do think what you're describing is a separate category. I'm not certain on the details.
I did look it up on Wikipedia here. Caniformia is a suborder of the order Carnivoria, consisting of dog-like carnivorians. So Carnivoria branches out into, you've got your felids and you got your other carnivores and what have you. But in caniform, of course, hits dogs because it's dog-like. They include dogs, wolves, foxes, etc., bears, raccoons, mustelids, the Pinnipedia, so seals, walruses, and sea lions are also assigned to this group. So seals, walruses, sea lions, they're caniforms.
Mm-hmm.
They're dog-like.
Well,
and that is so awesome.
Well, Kent's defense is, that's not true. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. It's like, here's the evidence and here's the reasons and the logic behind the conclusion that it's come to. And he's like, nope.
It's not like we don't know this because of genetic testing of these creatures, mapping genomes and seeing how closely these things match up.
And it truly is a basic, logical fallacy of the, doubling down. You're shown something, there's more technology that comes out, we make more advances, and the entire way you say no, and you double down harder. It's just a flaw in logic when you really boil it down. And see, Kent has figured out how to erase that logical thinking from the people around him. Mm-hmm. That's the scary part about, because like you say a lot, he's a lolcow. We have literally endless content for laughs, but he has figured out how to manipulate people very efficiently.
Yeah,
that's the scary part of Hovind.
As much as I downplay him, he is dangerous, and not in the way he thinks he's dangerous. He's not fighting any great battle or trying to bring justice to the world. He's a scummy ass cult leader who the world will be better off when they're finally gone. That's simple.
I can say, based on some personal experience in my life recently, I'm just glad he won't be able to mislead or to hurt others. I understand he does have people on a human level. I understand he have people that would miss him and care about him, but I will be relieved that he cannot damage other people. And that's sort of where I try to keep my mindset, because
definitely
it is hard not to wish bad on some of these people for all the bad they've done. So I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and I don't explicitly wish harm either.
I wasn't saying you did.
When it happens, sure. Yeah, definitely. I just want to add the qualifier, lest somebody take me out of context, that if something happens, I'll be a little bit like, oh, he's gone. And then that'll be the most empathy I give to it. Just the fact that oh, this person has passed just on a human level, but he's total
I
scum.
think hold on. I think for a brief moment from time to time, we will go into the feed looking for some juicy Kent content, and it won't be there, and there'll be a part of all of us in this community that goes, oh man, this kind of sucks. He's gone. I wonder what he'd be ranting on raving about now.
True, but we'll always have the back catalog, and someone
And
else
it's
will take his place. At that point,
unlimited.
we'll all focus on Matt Powell.
Oh, when his day comes, when he's next up on the chopping block, he's done for because he's got. That's another topic for another day. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
still here. Got to kill the camera for just a second and take a personal phone call. Give me 1 second.
Sure. Brock, you can continue.
It's just a dog. See, variations happen within the dog kind. You get a big dog or a little dog, but there are limits to these variations. Haven't the farmers...
I don't know where the limits would be, because I mean, if evolution's true, they came from a whole lot of stuff. I mean, they could keep going, right? Right?
In theory, it's you might have been out doing your streaming earlier while we were getting at this part during the R and Raw Hovind discussion, but R and Raw brought it up, and I've mentioned this several times in my videos, as have others, that every time he brings this up, he always makes references to some sort of physical limitation. He can never point out a genetic limitation that would cause them not to be this way. And in fact, when he says, oh, well, a dog that grows that big, wouldn't survive and such, it's like, but you're admitting that genetically a dog could do such and such. And so by that very admission, you're acknowledging that these aren't limitations of genetics. So you have made no valid point whatsoever. And in fact, demonstrated natural selection, because if the creature ain't fit to even survive, it ain't going to reproduce, hopefully.
He admitted it on a television show, sort of. He was like on a radio air. He's like, "Well, I believe in some evolution," and he said something about some of the dumb dying off.
Yeah, they'll take
some type of disselection.
People like Kent are forced into a situation now where they will take at least, the microevolution, as they love to call it. They'll take those kinds of variations because that stuff's unavoidable. And if you go through history and look at religious belief, especially like fringe beliefs like young earth creationism in its earlier days, things were extremely rigid, and they've been forced to loosen their grip on things, and eventually they're not going to have anything else left to grip onto. And honestly, that time is pretty close. We pretty much got some understanding of just about every aspect of existence when you really think about it, which is incredible. The amount of stuff that we know, the amount of stuff that we can do with that knowledge is indescribable. The very fact that we can have this conversation, we can have this broadcast going to whomever's watching and enjoying it, is an absolute miracle application of our ability to figure out the actual real physical world and manipulate it to do our bidding.
You want to know something? He'll say like, "Well, I admit my voice." That's not a very good voice, is it? we all evolutionists. I know my beliefs aren't provable. It's a religion, but yours is too. And then he'll act like, "Well, if you can't see that this was designed, if you can't see a cell was designed, I feel bad for you. Like this pen, it's designed. Why not the cell?" I'm like, "Are you saying it's scientific?" Like, it sounds like a contradiction to me, don't you think?
Yeah, he just asserts these things constantly. That's the key thing. Another key thing he does is just constant assertions. And it's safe to just pretty much ignore it all. I mean, what value does he add? What actual point is he trying to make? How is he actually contesting stuff? He's not. He's just being him.
I think before you got here, that we're talking about T-Rex fossils. Is that you can't prove that T-Rex had bones? I mean, you can't prove. No. Okay, he's not that dumb. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. That's on me. Unless there's no free will, but that's not another thing for that time. Basically, what happened is he's like, we can prove that it had kids. I know with the bones that it died. I'm like, if you find a small horse-looking thing,
yeah,
in a strata, and you date it to be old, just I don't know, old, 40 million years, and every few million years later, every time you look through newer strata, it's like a couple million years younger, like 2 to 5 million years younger,
sure.
And you see a bigger horse thing. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it's starting to tell you, hey, we had some smaller horse things that might have gotten bigger. We got to do a lot of stuff, but that's my first guess.
And I know some people would argue. I know some people would say, well, we have all these religious things, all these stories of religions. So maybe I would grant them back in the day, maybe, just maybe, God was killing off things and replacing them. Like that one asshole that was a competitor with the Darwin thought or SETI thoughts. But now we know the process is true, so why can't it go that far? If we can go a little bit, why couldn't the process be why those horses got bigger and lost their extra toes?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They just
Do you agree?
they can't give any credence to anything. Excuse me. More than they absolutely have to. But let's play more Hovind.
Oven. Do your best Hovind thing. Oven.
Hovind.
Been trying to breed for bigger pigs for a long time. They try to get the biggest pig they can, don't they? Do you think they'll ever get a pig as big as Texas?
Nobody is saying that a pig's going to get as big as Texas, bro.
Exactly.
And it always be like, you might have genes to get that big, but you would die before you even got that big if you're a big pig.
There's no way. No physical stuff. What the hell is it going to eat? It could not get to that size. It would not succeed at living. And that's just so ridiculous.
Why does the farmer have a red hat? Is he a Trump supporter? That was 2003. Trump was a Democrat, right, back in the day?
Actually, I think that was during the period where he was. And red hats are just red hats. We just see it now as the MAGA hat. It's a thing we've been brought into. Recall that the swastika was seen worldwide as a symbol of peace and value until a certain failed painter decided that it would be the emblem for the organization he became a lead in. And now it's a little tainted, and you always have to be careful if you inadvertently, use it.
Hey, did you subscribe to my? How did you know I was streaming? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sub to your channel, so I think when I popped on YouTube just to do my late night catch up on stuff I saw, and I was like, let me just pop in. I mean, I subscribed.
You must help me. I'm joking.
Yeah, I subscribed when I saw and left that comment on your video the night after you had left that comment on Kent, and it suggested to me. I'm like, I'm supporting this guy. He's going places. I told you.
I hope so. How long you been on YouTube? A couple years, like 10 years.
I mean, I've been on YouTube in some capacity since like 2006. This channel that I'm on, my channel, Kurisumato, dates back to 2013. I made it March 26th of 2013. I started fresh, but I've only been doing this kind of content for about 5-6 months maximum now.
I've been on YouTube for about a year now or two, and I've already got 100 subscribers. I wonder if I'll pass you. You never know. I'll have to keep publishing, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea is we just keep attracting as many happy people as we can, get them in to come and enjoy our content, watch our pre-made videos, hang out in live streams, and let stuff go. But speaking of letting stuff go, we got to let Kent ramble some more. We'll never get anywhere without him saying his same old tired crap.
let the monster rip. Remember I said that?
Unleash the monster that is Kent Hovind. And by monster, I mean it's a fucking troll. It's a goblin you'd leave under the sink.
Oh, yeah.
I bet there's a limit in there somewhere, isn't there? Roaches become resistant to pesticides after a while. Do you think they'll ever become resistant to a sledgehammer?
If they got big enough and had good enough muscle to hold a thick exoskeleton, they very well might.
I mean, honestly, yeah. If they could get that buff, we had some super buff roaches. That might just be the case. Also, if you're using a sledgehammer to kill roaches, you're going a little too extreme, buddy.
But just because they can't become maybe there's maybe there are limits to evolution. I mean, like certain animals, like a roach, they have an exoskeleton. They probably can't de-evolve that now. Maybe because it'd be
it's unlikely for them to switch over to having an endoskeleton. That's not something you would have. The point where an endoskeleton developed, they went on a different branch, hence them being insects.
Yeah,
that's one of those key defining features, one of the basal traits of them. So, they're never going to get some sort of internal bones in the same way we have them. They could, in theory, the endoskeleton could become an endoskeleton or some sort of combination form develop, but that would be a case of convergent evolution where some other analogous trait developed on its own, like how flight developed multiple times. Bugs fly,
Speaking of
birds
flight,
fly.
I was thinking of something. You hear me out. Hear me out. Just tell me you can fly 40 meters in the air in an airplane. Tell me. You can fly
I
40
can
meters
fly
in the air.
40 meters high in an airplane.
Well, you'll never pass 41 meters, so therefore, planes don't fly. That's just logic, basically.
Yeah,
Makes sense?
yeah, that kind of is.
It's
Just
like
a random limit that you can't explain.
You can walk an inch, but you can't walk a mile. That's kind of what this is in a way.
That's a really good analogy, actually.
Very nice.
Ambush apostate, you back?
Yeah, I'm having some headset trouble, so I'm switching over. One of my earbuds died, and my USB nice gaming headset is not working, so I'm not sure what's going on with it. So.
Oh,
well,
Lord,
if your
everything's failing.
if your headphones died, bring them out the knife and punch them. I'm joking. I'm not gonna. No. Well,
No, I'm here. I'm working through some stuff in the background. I'm here though.
I don't want to be like Yahweh and just get mad over the little thing. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I do get a little cranky over stuff, but I learned to,
Breathe and relax, Brock. Breathe and relax, and play more Hovind so we can laugh at him.
Alvin, do it. All three, both of you do it with me. Alvin.
Hovind.
Alvin.
Hovind.
I bet there's a limit. Yeah. Okay. They still produce the same kind of plant or animal. That's not evolution. That's just a.
There we go with the word kind again. What do you think? The word kind.
I think it's kind of a stupid term.
Yeah, not very kind of Kent to use that word. Like we should make him go to a debate, and when he says the word kind, it wasn't go, oh! And they shoot with water again, make him wet. He says, oh no, why would you do that? That'd be awesome.
It's just a word he had to come up with, and an explanation he had to come up with because he got backed into a corner, shown that he was, didn't know what he was talking about scientifically, and so now he just relies on this biblical kind. And if you don't understand it, it's because you're not saved. But if you, will join his cult, you'll understand it, and it'll make sense to you. That's all it is.
Delvin.
Hovind.
I wish I could do it like you could. I really wish I could do it like you could. You'll
get it figured out. Watch more AJ's videos. That's where I pulled my Hovind from. Is just AJ's videos. He sort of created it. So.
Hovind.
Yep.
Variation of the same kind. Okay, and the information for that variety was already present in the gene pool.
Ooh. How can he prove that? He's like, didn't he even know a darn thing about genes, like any part of DNA? He didn't even know anything about RNA. I bet not.
Sorry, yawning again. Not a bit. He just runs with this information thing because, again, it's an analogy used when sort of teaching the concept of DNA because people, especially as the world got more tech savvy, began to understand, well, computer code, it's information, books have information. So he just took an analogy and is rolling with it literally, as comments were in my stream today of saying Kent probably thinks it's literally the letters A, T, G, and C. And he tries to abstract it from the raw chemistry going on and the chemicals that make up everything. He wants to, ignore that and just make it seem like it's just all magic.
Magic. If I had some magic, I would make Kent Hovind believe in evolution. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if we need his kind of scumminess on our side. He just needs to disappear. Go retire.
I wonder what I'll do for a job in the future. I had a job at Crest. Maybe I should get a job at a museum. I have to study a lot first. I have to save up money for like a college or something. But anyways, shall I continue with the torture?
Sadly, yes.
Hovind.
No new information is ever added. The dogs or the pigs don't learn.
No new information is added. The dogs do not become pink or learn to fly. The dogs do become pink. You ever seen the pit bulls? They say they get pink sometimes. You ever seen some of them poodles? And as for learn to fly, that's a bit of a stretch to think that they do it, but who knows? Maybe if they did something like bats' ancestors did. I don't know. But what are your thoughts? It's a mess.
I mean,
That's my
yeah,
thought.
it's just wild, and it's the same thing with Kent that it always is. He just comes up with absurdities and throws them out as a point of, as a point. It's like, yeah, this'll get him. Haha, gotcha. No pink elephants, Hovind.
Yeah, it's Hovind. Basically, what I would say to something about the new information, or no, I forgot. What was I going to say?
Oh no, you hadn't said it yet.
How dare you sauce me? That's my job. Anyways, I was going to say something. Let's continue. I'll figure it out later.
learn to fly or
I'm going to call him. I'll just do all the stuff later.
become pink. Okay, there's no new information added, just scrambled information. And the gene pool of the new variety is now more limited than before.
Where's the proof?
It's going to be, if you want to define limitation, then the limitation, if let's do the information analogy, if every single codon is a bit of data, and or ignoring the binary aspect, if it's a bit of data, you still have the same number of bits if you have a basic like substitution mutation. But if you have, duplication mutations, you've expanded the number of genes that are capable, the number of bits, so to speak, in this information sequence. If you duplicated 10 and you had 1,000 originally, you now have 1,010, and those can be acted upon. They may have detrimental effects. They may be neutral. You never know. Every mutation is going to be, context specific on where it is in the genome and how it may apply to the living creature. But you can have reductions, which will change things, sure, but that doesn't necessarily make things worse. If you have duplications and such, you got more space to work with. And if you change things around, you got bat, you got cat, you got rat, 3 separate words. All you did was change one letter. It's not an equivalent analogy because chemistry doesn't work that way and that simply. But if we're going to break the ideas down to this kind of form, there's that word again, kind, to this simple of an analogy, we can roll with that kind of equally simple analogy to get the idea across that you don't necessarily have to destroy something, and substitution definitely isn't going to make anything more limited. And even if you did take away some genes, who knows what that might be doing, because genes aren't just, every gene is an expression of something. A lot of genes are inhibitors for things. Like, did you know that apparently the human genome, it wants to do 6 fingers and not 5?
Well, I don't know if it wants, but
I'd say that
it does it, but it's blocked.
Yeah, see, I made that flub of using anthropomorphized language. The genome is supposedly wants to produce 6 fingers versus the normal 5, and we have suppressor genes that keep that from happening.
Yeah,
and
that's how genes work.
Wild. Yeah. So, imagine if you take away that gene, you lost information, but now you've taken away the lock, stopping something else from going, which may be beneficial or maybe nightmarish. We don't know.
Have I shown Apostate the video I made with the black and white?
You did not, but best thing to do would be to link that in Discord. Keep Hovind going. And I only push on keeping Hovind going because it keeps the video moving forward. That's a key step in live streaming, is pacing everything. And usually if you're doing reaction content, keeping that video going is the key thing.
Okay, I'm just gonna real quickly go to AJ's general Discord. That's the wrong one. Gonna go to AJ. I said AJ's general. I think AJ's smaller than the atheist Discord server I joined before I joined AJ. There's an atheist server for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I stick to niche groups myself. I don't join the big servers ever.
I join both. I'm crazy. I'm cool, crazy. Anyways,
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, man.
I'm having all kinds of tech issues. I just want to congratulate Chris live. Have you checked your sub count, my friend?
I saw that it was at 998 a sec ago. Did I just hit the number?
You should probably go check it.
Oh, good Lord.
And I just wanted to be the first to say, since we're live, coincidentally, that I could not be more proud of the development that you have had both personally and on your content since I met you, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And you kick ass, brother, and I am super stoked for you.
Oh man, this is gonna be insane.
So I guess either you're going to leave Apostate or you're just going to wait a bit.
I literally,
Don't leave.
my mic and my earbuds have both failed me. I think I'm on my laptop built-in mic right now because my Blue Yeti has stopped responding for some reason. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is, and I mean that sarcastically for your equipment failing. That is wonderful in that garbage way.
I know,
Hopefully,
right?
maybe a reboot and stuff will get everything going back in order. But don't obviously expect you to reboot everything, then make a mad dash to get back to the stream.
Well, what's crazy too is
late.
I'm almost finished. I'm off tomorrow, fortunately, but I'm almost finished with post-production on another video. So I'm probably, once this stream is finished, I will jump off and finish that. And Brock, hit me up in the Discord server. We'll try to get some more of these going in the future. But yeah, Chris has a lot of input that, if he's giving you constructive criticism, definitely take it as that, because we want to see everybody succeed. And hey, his numbers are starting to speak for themselves when it comes to knowing what you're doing, talking about reactions to Hovind. So yeah, man.
And thank you, Seth. It means a lot. Dude. I'm so glad I was able to be awake for it.
Like I would have never thought we would have been alive when it happened, but I knew it was coming.
I just checked earlier, and my phone was saying 998, and then you're just like, hey, check your numbers, and I'm like, holy shit.
Let's go.
I'm at 1,000 subs.
Proud of you, bro. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute until I figure my stuff out, but I am still around.
Yes, he's not leaving. Yes! More than merrier. There was one person, the Jake Luvzu, however you say that, but they're not here anymore.
Well, another thing
they ditched us. How dare they?
Yeah, stuff happens. Another thing you always want to do when streaming is just keep it usually a smaller, close crowd, unless you want an absolute free-for-all, because every person you add in multiplies not only the amount of response time, which may bring down the flow of the stream, but also can create a lot of over-talking or possibly open it up to weirdos coming in who just want to cause chaos. So you always got to be careful on this stuff. But definitely a key thing, and I know I'm one to ramble, is try to get back to the video as soon as you can to drive things forward. Make a few key points and then just slam forward.
Yeah, I need to learn that.
You will.
I heard a sound and I was scared. I think it's the faucet. I turned the faucet on just to pinch and turn it to hot so I don't freeze. It's just snowing today.
Yeah, you're probably in frosty land. Yeah, so that's probably what you're hearing. Either that or Hovind's coming up behind you.
Anyway. I actually want to make a Hovind horror game, but it's going to be a pain in the rear.
That would be freaking hilarious.
And like Hovind.
You just turn the corner. According to evolution, things get better over time. Then he body slams you at the end.
Yeah.
It already sounds terrifying, to be
honest. Let's keep 0645 2017 rolling.
Well, before we start, Harvard.
Somebody spent years crossbreeding dogs to develop a Chihuahua. All that work to make a dog that is 100% useless.
Useless? I guess? Evolution? Yes.
Yeah, this is another thing you may or may not have picked up on. For some reason, Kent Hovind fucking hates dogs. Like, he just fucking hates dogs. It's weird.
He hates them almost as much as he hates his ex-wives.
Yeah.
He hates all of them.
And again, in his mindset and his worldview, you don't need any kind of comfort. Like if a tiny dog brings somebody some sort of joy or comfort, or they can, make a memory with this little animal with their kids that they remember when they're dead and gone. It's like none of that stuff even crosses his mind, because he is what he is. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean who are you to say it has no value? They're totally useless to you. But again, it's not good enough to have an opinion like normal people. He has to then push that on everybody else. That's what makes him the scumbag he is.
I'm going to be real honest. Dogs are a little sus sometimes. They're not all bad, but they can be kind of mean too. It's not just, hey, Kent, that's rude.
Well, I will say from experience that I don't know where I would be both like physically and mental health wise without the dog that I got about 3.5 years ago that has been sort of riding shotgun with me through some rough years. So like, I guess it just depends on your situation, but it's frustrating because he doesn't care about other people. That's the issue. He doesn't care about any other utilities for this animal because it doesn't affect him. So it must be wrong. And that's the issue here.
Yeah.
Oh, so he is. He's a crazy person. But yeah, dogs and hovind, they can be mean sometimes. It depends. Anyways, Alvin. And there they go laughing, agreeing. It just shows how simple they are. Well, they could probably learn. They could probably learn. I've learned. I was like them one day. I wasn't a creationist. I almost fell for it one time, but then I was like a Christian evolutionist, and I just kind of just became an atheist evolutionist. You know, that's kind of how I was. But anyways,
Let's turn all the chihuahuas in the world loose back into the woods. How long would they last? They'd run up to the wolf. Yep, 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 yep. Crunch.
that doesn't mean they didn't evolve, Kent. They evolved artificially, but it doesn't matter. They evolved, right? Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, make my day.
Oh my God.
Useless dog. Genetic information was lost when you got your variation. It wasn't added.
Okay, here we go. There's the real meat of this video. It's stuff like that.
It's like, no, Kent, it just traits changed. The genomes are effectively identical. It's just generally, in fact, it is just phenomorphic changes, just appearance changes. It's no different than the skin tone changes between humans as a side effect of the areas where we live, except that was a case of a natural selective process leveling that stuff out. And certainly the physical changes of like the skeletal structure and stuff are vastly different, but genetically it's the same. It's all the same thing, just being kind of shifted around here and there. It's like, okay, but what size is this going to be? Oh, these parts are all small. Oh, these parts are big. And you have the standardization that comes with breeding, and that's how it works. Everything's part of a population of like-sit creatures.
Chris, I have a question for you, since you are, I feel like you've got a leg up on this topic.
I don't know shit.
How is it any different for Kent to watch, say, a tree grow into a signpost or a fence post over, decades and decades, and not be able to connect the most? He likes to dumb it down, oversimplified and almost stupid for his audience. Why can he not see the similarity of, if there is something in the way, the tree will either grow through it or around it, depending on the material? This is the same thing, is it not? Or is there some sort of other phenomenon going on here to compare what we can see? And surely he wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah, sometimes trees will grow through things, but he can't see that evolution in the sense of it's adapting through the circumstances it's in.
Yeah,
is the same thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a metaphorical way of looking at it through analogy, but definitely it's going to, as the Jurassic Park quote goes, life finds a way.
Finds a way.
Right, and so it's just cognitive dissonance, I guess.
Yeah, it really is.
All right.
Very willful cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think almost everything Kent says is just, well, I don't see it.
Well,
It's
it's cognitive dissonance, because I struggled with that really bad for a while, where I had to clean out. Like, I have to pick one or the other. They can't both be right. But Kent has also mastered it's really lying by omission. He'll give a fact sometimes, but he omits everything else that would support or, in some cases disprove his own stance. So he's just, there's only so much you can do with breaking down his arguments because he's so dishonest.
Yeah.
Shall I continue with the stream?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You might have selected a certain slice of the gene pool with small dog, quick characteristics, but you didn't add anything.
Again, I just, how can you prove that there's already the genes in there? It's just Kent being Kent. EMS, right?
It's just an assertion. It's just an assertion, and that's all he has. because that was when I finally deconstructed from this belief system. I was like, wait a minute, there are no facts. Like, I'm not rewriting my new operating system, so to speak, with new facts. They're just baseless assertions that when you're young, when you're that 5-year-old girl, that's all you know is reality. And, that's the sad part really about all this is, you're not stupid. That was one thing I heard earlier when I think I was indisposed, but I heard something, and you corrected it. It's not that you're stupid. There's a lot of very smart people. People who lead groups like Kent's have figured out how to manipulate the human psyche. And a lot of smart people. I mean, the group I left, there's a guy who's still in it that was an engineer. I mean, he's a smart dude. You just happen to believe and you fall into some bad beliefs, and that starts shaping some of your actions.
And when you're talking about something that becomes intentionally as personal to people as faith, it's one thing for him to just be denying science, but the fact that this is all also captured in the idea of faith, of Christianity, of something many people truly do hold dear, as much as I may think it's absurd, that's neither here nor there. When you tie it to that, it makes it an even more powerful agent in your life to accept, because you've intrinsically tied this to what you view is the most important thing in the universe.
Right. And I've likened it a lot of times to literally pouring a concrete foundation and sprinkling in, a bag of marbles. And it's once that concrete sets, trying to pick the marbles out after is both extremely difficult, it's painful, it's time consuming, but that is what happens in these specific groups is, they pour it into your foundation. So everything you see moving forward is kind of viewed through that lens. If that makes sense.
It does. It truly does.
Sorry, Brock, go ahead. You can continue. I went on a little rabbit trail there, but hey, that's sort of what we do here, I think.
You selected something from the population. I come from Illinois, corn country. There are so many kinds of corn up there, they have to number them. You'll be driving down the highway. You'll see BX65, don't mix it up with XL29, something will blow up. But I'll tell you what, folks, you can crossbreed your corn from now to the cows come home, and you always get corn. You will never get a hamster or a tomato.
What happened?
You recall our conversation with Austin Sims, right?
Yes.
So
brought up corn. So basically, hear me out. Corn just came from a grass-like thing. It didn't have a cob. That was new information according to Austin. That's true.
The cob was if you wanted to find stuff as new information, the cob was most definitely new information. It was a hardening of the little stalk there. That was definitely more than just your average quick old change. That was a big deal.
And he'll say it's intelligent design because of us behind it. I don't think he has a good argument. Like you'll say you can only ever have evolution happen because of intelligent design, or he'll say you can have variation happen because it's just again more assertions he has.
It always boils down to the idea that there has to be agency in these things, when the thing is there doesn't. It's natural processes, and in the case of like the evolution of corn, us selecting the corn that had more desirable traits and allowing that to reproduce, us planting that, us harvesting that, forced a selection pressure for those traits. Because you're obviously not going to plant the crappy corn, you're going to plant the best of the best, and you're going to keep doing that. And eventually we wound up with the stuff we have today. It's all still natural processes driving that. We just selected what we desired from it. Just like with the dogs. We selected what we desired, be it good or bad. It's irrelevant. The processes happen. And for him to apply arbitrary distinctions is irrelevant. His view simply has no depth, as we know, because he believes the world's only 6,000 years old. Hence, everything has to be pretty much the same then as it was now and no further back.
If the world's 6,000 years old, how does he explain some of the really old religions and civilizations and cultures and all that? How does he explain that?
They're all just straight copies of the Bible, and they just lie about stuff. That's it. They just make shit up.
Source? Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
There was a meme. This person has mastered. They got a degree in the art of trust me, bro-ology.
That is Kent Hovind in a nutshell.
I wouldn't lie to you. It's all God. It's his plan. Trust me, bro. I can't wait to leave another sarcastic. See, I don't talk right. Okay, I cannot wait to leave another sarcastic comment on your channel, bro. Whatever. I want to keep that joke. I want it to be my joke. I keep running with where it's like, well, I mean, other can use. I don't care, but I want people to know I made the joke. I see the light. Evolution's wrong. Kent was right because insert ridiculous argument. It's just I want to do that so badly.
Yes, do it.
I'll type something wrong on purpose. Some dumb dude DOOD made a mistake 100 years ago. All right, and skadoosh.
Or a whale to grow on that corn stalk. Okay.
No one's saying a whale's going to go on the corn stalk.
Yep, not how it works.
It won't happen. There's a variety of cows, and they probably had a common ancestor. It was a cow.
Yeah,
Kent.
evolution already told us that.
Kent. Cows are just the females of the species. You're forgetting the male cattle. Forget their exact name.
Bull?
Was it steer? The bull? Yeah, the bull. The bull. Thank you. Yes. The male, either way, you're referring to just the females. And it's funny that you would keep doing this, especially with how much you hate women, Kent. Or maybe you do refer to them this way because of your constant misogyny. You think just referring to cows is the most appropriate way to create the comparison. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too deep into you, Hovind. Hovind. Deep Hovind.
Oh,
Variety of horses, no question. Probably the zebra and the horse had a common ancestor. But the kids are going to be taught in school tomorrow in your town that the horse used to have 4 toes. Well, there's some things they don't tell the kids about this Eohippus to Equus series, which has been proven wrong 50 years ago, but still is in your textbooks right here in this town.
please prove it. I bet he's not, but please prove it. Come on.
No, he's just
They
saying
don't
it
tell them
is.
the
and
original
then moves
so-called
on.
horse is the size of a fox. It was a meat eater and had 18 pairs of ribs. The next one had 15 pairs of ribs.
Eohippus was a meat eater?
Let me look that up.
That is
I
terrifying.
mean, it wouldn't matter if it was necessarily, but I'm pretty sure it probably wasn't. Eohippus is an extinct genus of small equid ungulates. So it's an ungulate. So straight up, yeah, animals with hooves. Only species is E. angus, blah, 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 which was long considered a species of Hyracotherium, now strictly defined as a member of the Paleotheralidae rather than the Equidae. Its remains have been identified. Let me see.
Yeah, not that this is relevant, but please don't be a carnivore. This sounds scary. I want it to be peaceful. I don't know why I do.
I'm seeing no evidence either way of its diet. And honestly, it looks very much like, and in fact, I should be able to figure this out just from the taxa. Because the genus is Eohippus, E. august, blah, blah. Family is Equidae. Order is Prisodactia. Odd and finger toe ungulates, the odd numbered ungulates. Parasidia, so Mammalia, so odd-toed ungulates are exclusively herbivores. So no, it did not eat meat. Straight up. Because the next order up is Mammalia, so they're mammals, i.e. the fur, the live young, the mammary glands. So next step down, so I knew that was the point where it was going to be, okay, if there's any branching, if they were omnivorous or what have you, this would be the point. And this right here, this little bit of quick research I did, in just a very casual way, is the beauty of taxonomy and why it is structured the way it is. And Aaron Ra gets so deep into this. This is his life. The incredible tapestry that is taxonomy and how it all makes such beautiful sense. But Kent just hand waves it away. It's insane when you look at the amazing structure of the web of life.
Because it's a death sentence. It's a death sentence to his belief system.
Exactly.
And there is no option. There's no logical way to fight it, so it just has to be ignored outright.
But then also just look at that. And granted, this is 2025 now versus this 2003. But look at how quickly I was able to piece together the information and counter that.
It takes little time to learn a lot, and the more people have access to information that is legitimate, the harder and the shorter time that groups like this actually have to run their course, because at the end of the day, this is a dying mindset. Yeah, there is some popularity and it spikes in popularity depending on some factors, but this is not the norm, and eventually sooner than later will run itself out. But yeah, for sure.
Science denying young Earth creationism will hopefully go extinct.
Well, I
sooner
say
rather
that,
than
and then
later.
look, we still have people who are convinced the Earth is flat. So and with that, I
Yeah.
don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I am going to jump off and finish this content. Brock, it's been great hanging out. Chris, again, congratulations, man.
Thank
and we
you.
will do this again for sure. We'll do it again.
Definitely.
Two things before you go.
Yeah.
First off, would both of you like to, some other time in the future, it could be years or months, I don't know, would the two of you like to discuss fictional alien animals from a game idea of mine? Would you?
Sure.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing, my brother and I are actually working on a indie game using Unreal Engine 5, and I've got a little bit of nerdy side and a background. Well, it's not a background yet, but I'm learning the ropes. So yeah, for sure, that'd be. Hey, and you're in our Discord, right? And Chris's or AJ, somebody's Discord.
He's in AJ's. I'm going to invite him to mine soon enough.
Yeah, we'll get together and we can plan something off stream once. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, actually, okay. Chris Yamamoto, you sound like a YouTuber. You really do. That's a YouTuber you sound like. I want to show you that. But also, before you go, apostate. There's something else. What was it? Let me look at it might have been. I'm gonna come back to me if I look at the horses. Nah, I can't think of it.
Hey man, just if you remember, just hit me up in Discord.
All right, toodaloo.
All right.
All right.
Before we continue, I'm going to show you this. It's really funny.
Okay, you've got me for just a little longer. I got to get to sleep to get to work, but I'll definitely check out what you got to show real quick.
Oh, it's messed up. I don't want to play War Thunder. It's too complicated.
Greetings, I'm Cross Knights, and this is Let's Play.
Say something. Say something.
Hey, I'm Chris, and this is Let's Play Some Random Game.
Greetings, I am Cross Knights, and this is Let's Play.
You kind of sound like
him. Oh man,
yeah,
I can tell. Yeah.
Army of Ages. I thought it was called.
Oh, that's.
I don't want to be rude, but I gotta be honest. I kind of like your voice. I like your voice. I really do.
I appreciate that.
Like his voice. But to be fair, since I insult you, I gotta be fair. My voice is terrible. I need a better voice.
You'll learn how to work with what you got. You got to work with what God gave you, Hovind.
Remember on Rise, you can look with the cards nature gave you.
Yeah, you really do. Sometimes just roll with it.
Yeah.
Trips through the buzzsaw did that.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you get off, I'm going to get off because I got to pee, and is someone watching? Someone's watching. Who's watching? If they join, I'll keep going. Want to join audience member?
Yeah, seriously, it's an open thing. It's an open party. Brock is welcoming people to have some fun.
I would do this again in a couple of days if I wanted to. In fact, I might put that video on hold a bit longer. Just do another live stream debunking Kent.
Ooh, something to consider. Something to consider is that StreamYard for the free plan only gives you 20 hours a month, so you'll want to use those hours wisely. I burned through all my hours last month. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it miraculously grew back 19 pairs of ribs as it evolved, and then back to 18. They also don't tell them the whole thing's been proven wrong a long time ago. Like this guy says in the biology textbook, other examples like the gradual evolution of the horse have not held up under close examination.
Proof. He must be making this stuff up.
Pixar, it didn't happen. Well, he's always got these sources he'll cite down there because he at least knows enough to cite sources. But if you follow what he says, it's always either a misquote, cherry picking. It's not actually in context saying what he thinks it's saying or what he wants you to think it says, or the source is just another freaking creationist.
Yeah, that last part, that's what it probably is. All right. All right, cross knights. Let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna use that joke forever. Say it with me. I'm cross knights. I'm cross knights, and we're gonna play some Age of War.
Play some Age of War.
Well,
That's a polite way of saying it's proven wrong, okay? This G.G. Simpson back in 1950
whoever that
said the
is.
example of the horse family has been unintentionally falsified. They knew 50 years ago this was false. Why did they keep that in your textbooks? This whole thing was made up by Othniel C. Marsh in 1874. He picked animals from all over the world and put them in order the way he thought it might have happened. They were never found in that order. Modern horses are found in the same layers as the so-called ancient Equus or Eohippus horse. They're found in the same layer. So it can't be the ancestor, that's for sure. The ancient horse is nothing but a Hyracotherium, which is still alive today.
Step back just a hair. So like hit the left key once. Yeah.
Same layers as the so-called ancient Equus.
Just look at the source down there. Kruzilinu NV Averachov, a horse from the dinosaur epoch. Moskovskaya Pravda, Moscow Truth, translated by A. James Machinek from 1984. This man is taking Soviet newspapers from the year before I was born for his sources. Now, you're young. The mid-'80s, us and the Soviet Union were not buddies. There was a nice, cool period in the 70s where we were kind of okay, but by the time of the 80s, we were right back at each other's throats. Every other 80s movie is going to be some sort of little Cold War reference in there somewhere. Just look at Rocky IV. So the fact that this guy who complains about communism and stuff in his stuff to this day, like it's still, the freaking 50s and the Red Scare, to use freaking Soviet newspapers as his sources is hilarious. That's the route he goes, though, because it says what he wants it to say. And
I've heard people especially R and Raw. I've heard people like that argue that the Soviets were good at airplane and nuclear science, but they were bad at biology because propaganda.
Well, there was the whole Lysenkoism issue where they thought they applied evolutionary principles to their crops, or rejected evolution and applied socialist principles to their crops. Excuse me. It's an incredible thing to look into, but it would take longer to explain than I have time here. It suffices to say the Soviet Union had a very interesting way of working. It didn't work out very well. They had some incredibly talented people. Look up Sergei Korolev. I can't speak. Sergei Korolev. I always want to say Korolev, more properly pronounce his name, but he headed the Soviet space program up until his death in '66. Man was an absolute freaking genius. So there's examples of incredible Soviet scientists, but the system relied more on let's just steal what we can from everyone else, the ideas, and make it work. So they copied our bombers. They copied, German. They used the same German tech we did to develop their missiles, etc. Everything was uncanny valley, if you will. But they had some smart people, and it's just how things wound up being when you have a nation that big trying to operate the way it did. But that's a very broad discussion of the topic of effectively the Cold War. But it suffices to say that, yeah, they had some skilled people. We had some skilled people. We had some stupid people. They had some stupid people. It's a healthy mix of the world. Kent, however, is the pinnacle of stupid. We can all agree on that. But Brock, I have had an awesome time hanging out with you. I am going to go on and hop off so I can start getting ready to get to sleep, because recall, I got to be at work at 6 a.m. So
well, take a day off.
It's going to be a thing. Oh, I would, but they need me. But always fun hanging out with you. Definitely just keep the stream going. Keep on having a party. If you gotta take it off, hey, you can keep on doing another day.
If no one's gonna join, then I might have less fun doing it on my own. So it's just you two were doing better than I was. I might call it quits. I might just start again later. I might.
Yeah, just take and reflect on stuff, and you'll get the hang of everything. You've got charisma, you've got a personality. You just got to refine everything, and I mean that in the best of ways. That there's plenty there, and you will find your start, your zone, and make things work.
Just before you go, I want you to know. Earlier today, I was like, what if I were to debate Hovind, like Kent Hovind, and I was to talk like he was, and just basically make fun of him and his ideas the whole time. Well,
That would be hilarious.
In the beginning, Brock thinks, I don't know what's there. In the beginning, Kent thinks nothing. Instead of us nothing, instead of us dirt him God, it's us we don't know him nothing. Anyways, well, I'll just get off, and you have a good day, sir. I'll see you later.
You too, my friend. Take it easy.
See you later, Space Cadet. Alrighty, I hope you all enjoy it. As always, have a great day.